So, as a Squatch, when you had to decide where to live, why did you decide on Martin? What were the things about Martin that really drew you in?
My wife's family is from the area, I know that it's a good extended family, real lots of good folks, and so I knew bringing my kids up in this sort of environment would be ideal.
Sasquatches have always had, dogs with them, like everywhere they've gone. They were some of the first ones that started training dogs. Do you still find yourself having a natural affinity for canines?
That's the current pet we have, my dog, Casey. She's been about 13 and a half years now.
So
bought her as a
natural affinity for the canines?
Yeah, I hate cats. But again, that's partly because I'm allergic to them.
Is it true that cats are the Achilles heels of Sasquatches? How do you react, even being half Squatch, to cats?
When I see a cat, I don't see cute and fluffy, I see death and achievement.
Yeah.
If I touch that cat and then touch myself in the wrong way, I would be in the hospital.
Yeah, like your hair would fall out or something.
My face would blow up to 3 times normal size.
I know there's a common misconception that Squatches are not as smart, and obviously yourself being a professor, that would seem to contradict. Are your kids, is your family any different academically by being half Squatches?
I don't know if it's necessarily because of just me. Both my wife and I are, highly educated.
When you were growing up as a half Squatch, I'm sure you had some physical differences and some things like that, learning to cope with your environment. Were you ever bullied in school? Were you ever picked on or singled out because you were a half Squatch?
Yeah, a lot, although it was a different kind of thing. Anytime you're unusual, and I've always been tall, you're going to be the target of people. So it wasn't really physical bullying as much, it's more of just sort of, kind of a teasing thing, which can still be bad.
Did you feel ostracized?
So a lot of times I would.
Obviously, in the civil rights movement, we've had a moving towards equality in our country. Yet, there still is some inequality for Squatches. But do you feel like we're moving in the right direction?
Oh yeah, it's socially based. It's something that as a culture we're moving away from. It just takes time.
Yeah.
Okay. That said, do you see anything hopeful on the horizon with this new generation?
I really do believe that the current generation of you guys, we're kind of getting far enough away from the whole civil rights era that it probably won't be much of an issue after the next 10 years or so.
Secondly, I sort of wanted to hit on your family. We know that Squatches have sort of a violent history and sort of a bloodlust in some cases, at least in the past. What did your ancestors have to do with some of the original invasions of Squatches?
Well, my father originally, I think he's traced it back a while to Normandy. They were part of that group that came up to take over England. So it wasn't originally Anglo-Saxon, it was actually Norman.
Got that hostile roots.
There you go. And then of course, during the colonization period, I think they came over in the 1700s.
Was there a specific reason for them to come over?
I don't know the answer to that. I know they came over in North Carolina and then gradually migrated.
Did your family ever have any conquest of its own, just your family?
There's actually, in Lawrence County, Tennessee, there's a cruise town in Lawrence County, Tennessee.
Okay, and another question that I wanted to hit on was your interaction with the military. Because obviously with the cover-ups and things like that, the military's helped y'all with, and you being such a big part of that yourself, where did you make those original key connections in the military?
Well, the high school we went to was on a was on a military base in Germany, and a lot of the kids there were sons and daughters of generals and colonels and majors, while my dad was a staff sergeant.
Now, you know, you don't have to reiterate how powerful the Sasquatches are. And I personally, you know, I value that y'all are staying low and working it through the political system now. But if y'all had to act militarily, what would we be looking at as humans?
Look at the facts and figures there. We have the capability of putting 300,000 troops within a 2-week period anywhere in the world. The next country in terms of that ability is Great Britain, and they're at 10,000. We are so far ahead of everybody else. There's really no need to be that much more. The only enemies out there that could even possibly challenge us militarily are too entwined with us economically to ever have a war.
What do you think about the people who are still in denial of squatches?
But again, you know, reasonable people can disagree on things, so I don't necessarily think.
You don't have hostilities towards people who disagree?
And I don't consider them to be ignorant or stupid.
Yeah.
Just, again, from my perspective, it seems logical and obvious that this is the way to go.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, with this being such a deep and concerning issue for you personally, what would you have to do if, at the end of this presentation, some students in this room were inconsiderate and rude enough to still deny the existence of squatches and half-squatches openly?
I really